Today, we're diving deep into the myths and legends of one of the Old West's most notorious figures, Billy the Kid. Get ready as we debunk some of the biggest lies that have surrounded this infamous outlaw for over a century. Number 1. Billy the Kid killed 21 men. The legend that Billy the Kid killed 21 men, one for each year of his life, is deeply ingrained in popular culture. This figure is largely a myth, propagated by sensationalized media and embellished stories. Historians have rigorously examined the available evidence and agree that the actual number of people Billy the Kid killed is significantly lower, with estimates ranging from 4 to 9. One of the key reasons this myth persists is due to the nature of 19th century journalism. Newspapers at the time often exaggerated stories to attract readers. The Wild West, with its lawlessness and colorful characters, provided ample material for such sensationalism. Dime novels, a popular form of entertainment, also played a significant role in inflating Billy the Kid's exploits. These novels portrayed him as a larger-than-life figure, further cementing the legend of his 21 kills. Detailed historical accounts provide a clearer picture of Billy the Kid's actual kill count. For instance, his involvement in the Lincoln County War, a violent feud in New Mexico, accounts for most of his confirmed kills. During this conflict, he killed at least 3 men: Sheriff William Brady, Deputy James Bell, and one other during the Battle of Lincoln. These incidents are well documented and provide a basis for the more realistic estimates of his kill count. Moreover, some killings attributed to Billy the Kid lack concrete evidence. For example, his supposed involvement in the death of Joe Grant in a Fort Sumner saloon remains contentious among historians. While some accounts claim he shot Grant in self-defense, others suggest the story was fabricated to enhance his notoriety. The myth of 21 kills also overshadows the complex character of Billy the Kid. He was not just a cold-blooded killer. He was also known to have a certain charisma and a sense of loyalty to his friends. These traits made him a compelling figure, but they also contributed to the romanticized and exaggerated versions of his life story. Contemporary research into court records, eyewitness testimonies, and other historical documents consistently shows a more nuanced and less dramatic picture of Billy the Kid's life. Modern historians emphasize the importance of separating fact from fiction to understand the true nature of his actions and legacy. Number 2. The Kid's death and Pat Garrett's role. Billy the Kid's death at the hands of Sheriff Pat Garrett is one of the most debated events in Wild West history. According to the official account, Garrett shot and killed Billy the Kid on July 14, 1881, in Fort Sumner, New Mexico. This version of events has been widely accepted, supported by multiple historical records and eyewitness accounts. However, controversy surrounds this narrative. In the 1950s, a man named Brushy Bill Roberts came forward claiming to be Billy the Kid, having survived the alleged shooting and lived under an alias. Brushy Bill's claims sparked significant interest and led to a re-examination of Garrett's account. Brushy Bill provided detailed knowledge of Billy the Kid's life, and even some scars matching those the Kid was known to have, adding some credibility to his story. Despite the intrigue surrounding Brushy Bill's claims, modern forensic analysis and historical evidence largely discredit his assertions. For instance, photographs of Brushy Bill compared to known images of Billy the Kid reveal significant differences in appearance. Additionally, official documents from the time, including autopsy reports and statements from individuals present at Fort Sumner, corroborate Garrett's version of events. Eyewitness testimonies from Garrett's deputies, John Poe and Kip McKinney, describe the moments leading up to the shooting. They recount how Garrett and his posse tracked Billy the Kid to Fort Sumner, and, upon confronting him in a darkened room, Garrett fired the fatal shot. The aftermath included immediate identification of the body by those who knew Billy well, including Pete Maxwell, whose house served as the scene of the killing. Physical evidence from the site, such as the bullet's trajectory and the body's positioning, aligns with Garrett's narrative. Additionally, Garrett's detailed written account in his book, The Authentic Life of Billy, the Kid, published in 1882, provides a comprehensive description of the incident. further supporting the authenticity of his story. Researchers have also debunked claims that Billy the Kid escaped by highlighting inconsistencies in Brushy Bill's story and the lack of credible supporting evidence. The numerous public and private documents, death certificates, and first-hand accounts consistently point to Billy the Kid's death in 1881, reaffirming the official story. Number 3. Billy the Kid as a Robin Hood figure. The portrayal of Billy the Kid as a Robin Hood figure is a widely held myth. Contrary to this romanticized image, Billy the Kid's actions were largely driven by personal gain and survival rather than altruism. Historical accounts and records reveal that his involvement in criminal activities was primarily influenced by the turbulent environment of the Lincoln County War and personal vendettas. During the Lincoln County War, Billy the Kid aligned himself with the Regulators, a group formed to avenge the murder of John Tunstall, a rancher and merchant. While some might view this as a noble cause, it was more about loyalty and seeking revenge against rival factions. The conflict was essentially a violent feud between competing business interests, with Billy playing a central role in the chaos that ensued. Billy the Kid's supposed acts of generosity are largely exaggerated or misinterpreted. While he may have shared stolen goods with his gang, this was more about ensuring the loyalty and support of his comrades than any sense of social justice. His gang operated out of necessity, relying on theft and cattle rustling to survive in a harsh and lawless landscape. Moreover, the notion that Billy the Kid targeted the rich to help the poor is not supported by historical evidence. His victims included lawmen, rival gang members, and those caught in the crossfire of his confrontations. The romanticized stories often omit the context of these killings, focusing instead on a narrative that fits the Robin Hood archetype. Eyewitness accounts and court documents from the time provide a clearer picture of Billy the Kid's character. He was known for his quick temper and willingness to resort to violence to achieve his goals. His actions were driven by a desire to escape justice and maintain his freedom, rather than any larger ideological motive. In sum, the Robin Hood myth surrounding Billy the Kid is a product of folklore and popular culture, which often seeks to simplify and romanticize complex historical figures. The reality of Billy the Kid's life was far more nuanced, characterized by a struggle for survival in a brutal and unforgiving frontier. His legacy, though intriguing, is more accurately understood through the lens of his time's socio-political conflicts rather than the lens of legend. Number 4. The Kid's True Age. Billy the Kid's true age has been a topic of considerable debate and confusion. Many sources inaccurately state that he was born in New York City in 1859. However, thorough examination of historical documents, including birth and baptismal records, suggests that he was likely born between 1859 and 1860. This makes him 21 years old at the time of his death in 1881. The confusion about his age and place of birth partly arises from the lack of official documentation and the proliferation of myths. Some early biographies and newspapers misreported his birth details, contributing to the enduring mystery. Furthermore, the mythic quality of his story has led to various interpretations and misrepresentations. Billy the Kid, born Henry McCarty, later known as William H. Bonney, was indeed born in New York City. However, exact dates were often not meticulously recorded during that era, leading to discrepancies. Most reliable sources now agree on his birth year as 1859 or 1860, but exact documentation remains elusive. His mother, Catherine McCarty, moved the family west, eventually settling in New Mexico, which became the backdrop for his infamous outlaw activities. Contemporary accounts from people who knew Billy provide further insight into his age. Friends and associates consistently described him as being in his early 20s at the time of his death. This corroborates the historical records, suggesting he was around 21 years old when Sheriff Pat Garrett killed him. The mythologizing of Billy the Kid's life, including his age, has been fueled by dime novels, movies, and folktales. These sources often prioritize sensationalism over accuracy, contributing to the confusion about his true age. Historians have had to sift through a mix of factual information and exaggerated storytelling to piece together a more accurate biography. The persistent myth of his age being significantly older or younger than he actually was adds to the romanticized image of Billy the Kid as a timeless, almost mythical figure of the Wild West. Yet, the most credible evidence points to a young man whose brief life was marked by turbulence and violence, consistent with someone in his early 20s.